This is the section on sugar and the slave trade. One of the things that was so revealing in learning about the history of sugar was that there was a basically widespread use of slavery to cultivate sugar. And this lasted up through the middle 19th century until Britain, France, and other European countries abolished the slave trade, and later America with the Civil War. There's some interesting artifacts related to this, and I'll just first describe this the cycle of trading and how it worked. Finished goods, either from Europe or, in our case, the American colonies, were loaded onto cargo ships and taken to West Africa. And so we're talking about precious metals, guns, iron, copper, tools, usable goods that they didn't have in underdeveloped Africa. So these things are being taken by merchants and traded for humans to work in the sugarcane fields. So then these merchants would pick up their cargo of now enslaved people and carry them over to the Caribbean, where they were then traded or sold into slavery, typically to work the sugarcane plantations. And of course there were other plantations in the Caribbean at this time, and we're talking mainly late 17th and 18th century. The mahogany trade was growing as people realized that mahogany had value for furniture and other finished goods shipbuilding, coffee plantations, chocolate to a lesser degree, but sugar really was king. There was a huge Western appetite for it, and it took a lot of hand labor and humans to cut it and process it. And so the enslaved folks were dropped off here, and then these same merchants would often pick up a cargo of either finished sugar, molasses, or rum, and in some cases, some enslaved Africans would accompany these goods up to ports in the American colonies, both in the American South, where they were often sold into slavery there, or in the North, where slavery wasn't really abolished until early to mid 19th century. So there were slave auctions right here in Philadelphia, as close as Front Market Street by the wharves, the London Coffee House. So these merchants were tripling up on their profits between slaves, sugar, and finished goods. And then the cycle would become again. So this is what's known as a triangular trading cycle. This map is a reproduction. It dates from about 1830, and we had it printed on canvas material so that you can touch it and it simulates some of kind of the feeling of this time period. One interesting discovery we made along the way were the anti-saccharites. This was a group that really started in England in the 18th century, often comprised of Quakers who were boycotting the use of what was called blood sugar, which means sugar that was known to have been processed by slave trading and slave labor. And so here you have some Quaker ladies that are thumbing their noses at these extremely indulgent blood sugar consumers at the tea, which was a mainstay in British culture and society, where the consumption of tea and sugar and tea really did sort of go together. And so it's interesting about the politics of this. Even in Philadelphia, there were stores called free stores started by Quakers that boycotted the use of slave labor for various products like sugar, and they would sell free products, not meaning free like they didn't cost you anything, but they were free of the slave associations. So these are some other disbursements pages from books, and at the time these are merchant ships that came into Philadelphia, and you can see sugar listed, coffee, beef, rum, 3 gallons rum, and this is from a 1788 schooner coming into the Delaware riverfront here. Some more cane, and this is a straw hat from Honduras, very similar to traditional hats that coolies might have worn working in the sugarcane fields. It's quite broad, and the sun is very hot there. And so it just gives you a little bit of the sense of how hard the work was. I mean, cutting bamboo 10, 12, 15 hours a day, not bamboo rather, but sugarcane, which is a similar sort of thing, using only your body and a knife. Here we have an item from the Independence Seaport Museum's collection, and this is called a waste book, and it's essentially a ship's log for products, and there's this is from 1761 July in Philadelphia, which you can see, and it's for a merchant named Samuel Massey. And there's quite a few entries on these pages that detail sugar and molasses. Next to that, also from the museum's collection, is the model of a merchant ship, the New Jersey, 18th century, early 19th century merchant ship used in the China trade. So this is the sort of ship that we're talking about that would have carried slaves and sugar